Yes, today we're joined by Glen's Vodka, Scottish Premiership Manager of the Month for November, David Martindale!
I thought it was for January.
No chance.
Who's won that?
But be a big Ange, wouldn't it, if we don't use all night, wouldn't
No,
it?
I'll tell you.
February.
We can't, it's somebody, but it's none of the top two. But I know who it is, but we can't announce it yet.
We're unbeaten.
I'm sorry.
But I swear to God, if it's no Livingston, I'm not taking an all.
You've had a great month, to be fair to you.
Unbeaten.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We get to this. We get a say in who gets it. And I voted
that
for you.
That energy drink is magnificent.
Somebody voted against you.
No chance.
You wouldn't do that to me.
I would never do that to you.
Is it the ugliest you've seen in a lovely jacket? Seriously, look.
No, I think you were given a name earlier, and he's a nice looking boy. Good looking boy. I can see why you and Brushy go together.
I love that for you.
He did say Andy Halliday was the worst looking Livingston player of all time.
Did he? Is that
No,
what you say?
no, don't do that, man. You did that.
Andy? No, when
You got a shotgun under there.
Stealing his batter.
You're a batter pirate.
Oh, this is magic, isn't it? This is what every manager, when you're listening to this is what you need to come as, don't you? Be yourself.
This is why he's so successful, mate. The personality's everywhere.
This is why I'm still at Livingston.
Yeah, no, listen, you could go anywhere you want, mate, but just we'll move on to the game the other night. How was it against Celtic, mate?
I don't know, I wasn't really watching it.
Kind yourself.
I just thought,
There's a debate going on now. Is it probably one of the most dominant sides you've
I
came up
think so.
against?
I've came up against Brendan Rodgers' Celtic at its top. I think John Kennedy had the team for a wee while. I think Lenny had it. And to be fair, we managed to take points off Ange last year. We took 4 points off him, but I think he's kicked on. I think he's really kicked on, and for me, it's one of the hardest challenges I've had coming up against a Celtic team at Parkhead. How you set your team. Pardon me, that's a stupid energy.
Oh, that's good. That's just hit the system.
Tastes like pakora. Oh my God, indigestion.
He'll be suing you, mate.
You could be done, sir.
That'll need to come with a bottle of Gaviscon.
Buy one, get one free in it.
So maybe team up with him, because he'll sell even more Gaviscon.
That's the thing this year. No, Davey, managing one for November.
November.
February.
David,
how have you been getting on since then?
Done quite well. Done quite well. Normally you get the manager in month, it's doing healthy there, innit? So the boys went unbeaten in January. Have I told you that?
Brilliant.
Told you that. Have I spoke about budgets and Celtic's budgets and that?
Was a budget? Did Dan say anything the other night?
I said, your budget's more than you let on. I said, no, it's not.
Did he? Huh?
No, of course it never. I honestly, like, you speak to Ange, but I think he's done a great job. And he's always very complimentary to Livingston. So him and John Kennedy, to be fair to him, they take time to come and speak to you and say, oh, well done, or you're doing well, whatever. And he's done that since he came in. He done it last year as well. But it's a challenge trying to take points off Celtic.
When did you say that to you, David? Right after the game, or just go and sit for a bit?
No, that doesn't really happen as much now. I think COVID put a wee bit of an end to that, and then it was just one of these things. Because you weren't doing it, it was easier just to no do it. It's probably just me, doesn't it, in the office.
It's a wild thing Andrew's got in the office, isn't it?
That's how they're so successful.
But
Wild thing they've been drinking.
The energy
drink.
Is that what it is?
Every one of them are drinking it every day.
Is it?
3 times a day.
I need to order some of that.
I'll get you a case, don't you worry about it. But Si, we're talking a wee bit earlier about young coaches. Maybe is it too early going into management? Marvin Bartley, he's went on. Do you think that's the right decision for him?
For Marv, I think it is. I think Marv, like, I'm not going to speak about individual people, but there's some people you look at and you go, they're very, very good coaches, and then there's other people you go, I think he'd be a very good manager. That's just my opinion. So I think Marv's destined for management. He is a manager, and I think he'll do really well, because for me, that's one of Marv's major strengths.
How would you see in him that you think will make him a good manager?
It's just his man managing, his personality, and he'll get better as he goes on, mate. Probably sitting with me for 2 years in the office helped him out, because every time I got a player in, he just shot out the door because he didn't want to listen to it. No, but I think Dougie had a wee bit of both, if I'm honest. He was a really good coach, but you could see him being a manager. Marv, again, he's a good coach, but I think he'll really, really take to management.
Christoph Berra's in there.
Christoph Berra, but I was going to ask you, how do you work your training? Do you deliver most of it, or do coaches come in and do bits? And
we have team meetings. We'll have a meeting in the morning, pre-game, post-game. So there's meetings most mornings, and what we're going to do during the week. I'll take the majority of sessions, but I like to split the sessions up within my sessions as well, and we'll take the defensive players away, the offensive players away, and we'll work in patterns of play, or the strengths and the threats that the opponents are going to bring to us, and we'll work in the weaknesses or opportunities that we feel.
So we do that?
Aye, we do it through the field. There's a lot of detail goes into the coaching on a weekly basis. Do you know what? You should actually come in and go through a week with us.
I'd like that.
1 week. No, but a proper week, do you know what I mean? And then that will give you a feel to come in the meetings. We'll get a laugh, but come in and do a proper week with the boys. Because
see, in the meetings, David, do you give your coaches a saying? Like, do you say, well, what do you think we should do there?
In my meetings personally? Of course. I think...
so do you make all your coaches watch the game for the weekend, and will you say...
I don't make them, we do.
Good.
We do, so every game that comes back to us, we'll have all goals and chances, and we kind of try and strip the game back to all goals and chances. So that's really all entries into the box, really. So you're watching all entries of you and the team you're playing, entries into the box. So you're looking and going, can I do that better? What can I do better? Then you'll flip that and you'll look at the opponents that you're going to come into with. So Saturday, play Kilmarnock, it'll get put to bed Monday morning. So we'll come in Monday morning, we'll have a post-game meeting, and then we'll go into the post-game analysis, then we'll train, and then Tuesday morning it'll be the pre-game meeting going into the rest of the week.
So for Tuesday to Saturday's all about the opposition?
Even Monday after the meeting, Monday's training session still gears towards the opponents at the weekend.
Great.
I did text you, mate, generally when that sort of opportunity came up as a coach, I did text you, didn't I? And you said hand your CV in. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a CV.
I knew that's why I asked you to hand it in.
Aye. You didn't want me, did you, really?
Would you seriously consider them?
Seriously?
A guy
you got
about
your
the place?
badges? No, see, to be fair, I'd met Christoph a few times, seen him play, I'd worked with Foxy knew him. I actually tried to sign Christoph when John Guthrie left and he went to Raith Rovers, so I'd had him in the office and spoke to him. I think I needed a bit of experience, a left footer and somebody to... See, for me, I like defenders who can defend first and foremost. So I'd actually spoke to Christoph about coming into us for a year before he went to Raith Rovers. So I had a bit of a relationship with him, and I'm always thinking, like, Marv, I put Marv in for jobs. Not without asking Marv, because I knew Marv wanted to be a manager, so I'd been encouraging other clubs to come in and speak to Marv. So I knew Marv was going to move on at some point, so I've always got people in the back of my head. You were there, but you're miles away. I've always got people in the back of my mind that I think, if this does happen, this does materialise, this is probably where I'm going to go with it.
Really,
see, did you need to sit and speak to him first? I know you met him before on the player level, and did that have a massive say in you taking him on? Like,
probably not. Nah, probably not, because he's just a genuinely really nice guy, but he's played top level, and I think it's important even for me at this stage of my career to be learning from Christoph. I'll pick stuff up defensively from Christoph that I can use to further my career as well, but it's going to help the collective at Livingston. And the big thing is, I think you've got to use the people round about you. I think in my early years at Livingston, I've done absolutely everything, but I'm trying to get better at delegating that as well. And if you've got the right staff around you, it's much easier to do.
Do you think, see, on that, do you think you can be too, no you personally, but see if you're delivering every session, the players might go, I'm a wee bit sick of hearing him all the time.
Probably.
That's me, I need to stop that.
No, but that's what I'm actually thinking. See, because you're big personalities and whatever.
It's hard. So on a Monday, I've only started that this year. On a Monday, it's a recovery session. So the starting 11, if you play 60 minutes or more, you're in a gym-based starting recovery session. So then you're maybe looking at 10 to 12 players that are played under 30 minutes or no started or just or maybe not even in the squad. So I'll let Christoph and Neely take the recovery session. Then we go into a wee bit more detail on the Tuesday, and I'll bounce into the Tuesday. Wednesday's generally the day off. The Thursday I'll start the session off, and then I'll split the session into more detail of what we're trying to do going into that game plan. And I'll give Christoph and the goalie coach the defenders. But we've all agreed within the meetings during the week, these are the 3 or 4 points that we think are relevant going into this game. I'll work on the 3 or 4 points we think are relevant. How do we score? And how do we stop them scoring? So we split that up and we give each coach a wee bit of time. So we do a generic analysis, pre-game analysis this morning so I'll speak to the analyst, but he's worked with me now, Ewan's worked with me now for 3 years, so he kind of knows what I'm wanting. So between the two of us, Ewan will go and do all the edit and get all the video up. We'll do the pre-game analysis today. Christoph and Neely will then do their pre-game analysis on an individual basis. So there's a back four or as a unit, a midfield and back four unit, we could have done this better last week, we need to do this better this week. So we go into a wee bit more detail again through video. I like to coach, you've not got the time to do this, I think, but I'm big on visual. So I think people are visual learners now. We're a wee bit older school, me more so than yous, but we learnt on the park with coaches, right, you get that done. So that's more of a tactile, you're on the park. So you've got your tactile side of the coaching, you then got the verbal side of it where I'm delivering a message now, speaking to you, but I'm also doing that on the park. But I'm big on visual, because I think now a modern day players grew up with an iPad and a phone, and I think they learn a lot through visual. So we had a company in last year, and we done an insights. He's ever done any of this? How people learn, what type of leaders they are.
So there's 3 types in
there. Yeah, there's 3
learning.
types, aye. So it's all in there, and it's pretty amazing, like, and I'll no use names. So one player learned, he was a wee bit older, and he picked up 60% of the information I was giving him through on the grass, 20% through verbal, maybe me sitting in the room talking to him, and 20% through visual. There's all our younger players coming through, and I'm saying maybe boys up to 28 and down now, that were bigger visual learners than what they were in the field.
That's crazy, man.
But you judge players on what they do in training, don't you?
Yeah.
Because how many bad trainers you seen, but in a game it or not? How many good trainers? I'm going to say you were a good trainer. Just
no, I was the opposite.
You were brutal in the park.
I was brutal. I actually didn't enjoy. I gave 100%.
Did you know?
I wasn't good in possession and all that. I see that's all the time.
I've seen it. So you learn a different way.
I don't think he learns any of the 3 of them.
Do you know?
I don't think
there needs to be a 4th one.
Exactly. 3 ways of an my head there.
Are you allowed to bleep? Did we bleep this?
No, go, you can say it.
So you're fucked, isn't you?
Well, I'm fucked because it's me that's in charge.
But do you know what I mean?
There's got to be a 4th way out there that we're not
I know, it must be something. But so we try and deliver the coaching messages through the 3 different mediums.
Brilliant.
And we send, the day before the game, they'll get a 2-minute clip in every single player that's in the Kilmarnock squad, showing the strengths and weaknesses of that player. Now, there's no chance every player's going to watch a video of 45 minutes. So what we say is try and spend time on your direct opponents. So the opponents you're going to come up against. So we put a lot of detail into the club, and that's been an evolution. Year on year, I'm always tweaking it and trying to do something different.
Again, a lot of people on this wouldn't care, but we obviously care because you're part-time. Could you do could you go to that sort of depth when you used to have part-time here now?
I was Broxburn member.
Broxburn,
So I was part-time at Broxburn. Historically, you do. Tuesday, you're getting your cardio because you've been out drinking at the weekend, so you're trying to run the drink out of boys, and then Thursday you're going into a more detailed session, but really, you're not really getting a chance to get that message over. But it's all relevant, I think, because you're playing against teams that are doing something similar. Do you know what I mean? But what we did and what I done was I encouraged the boys to go to the gym. So the boys would do a Monday night, they'd try and get to the gym. Tuesday or training, they'd do a bit of gym. Wednesday and a Thursday, and they'd come off it. So they're doing 4 gym sessions, 2 training sessions. That's what I encouraged when I was part-time, and that's what I done when I was part-time. Whereas if you look at a full-time club, you're maybe 2 gym sessions and 4 football sessions. So you're trying to flip it, but you know yourself, it's educating them. Boys have got kids, wives, work commitments. It's difficult, eh?
So just on the backroom staff, last thing I know you said you gave them an insight training. What about in terms of before games, after games? Do you let them talk, or is there certain
so
things
I'll
you do,
do
certain things you don't?
The team talk, but for me the team talks, it's partly motivational, but you've done all your detail during the week. We've got a PowerPoint that goes on the screen that's a build up of the week as well, and it's roughly 24 pages, and it's got every bit of detail on it, and your name's highlighted, and it's got all your aspects of what you're going to do. So I'll sometimes refer to the team talk, I'll sometimes refer to the training of the week previously, because remember these important points of what we're going to do. So I'll take that wee bit first and foremost, then they'll come in, do their warm-up, come in, and then I'll get the boys, and it's not a Celtic huddle, but I'll get all the boys in, everybody's in, every member of the staff. We'll do it's a wee bit of a huddle. And then I'll say what I've got to say, then I'll pass a bit over to Nicky, so I'll let the captain will then say his wee bit, and I just think it brings us all together. At half time we'll bring the coaches in a wee bit more to say their piece after I've said my piece and after the game.
How's Nicky talking to the group?
So what I used to do is I'd sit and I'd say my wee bit, roughly a minute or whatever, that just gene the boys up, remember this, and then I'd somebody would catch my eye and I'd say, right, Si, you say something, you'd see boys like they'd shit or say wee pits, he'd look at the floor and that. So I actually stopped doing it because it got that uncomfortable with people because they didn't know who I was going to pick and they were all looking at the floor, so I'd pick somebody and oh my God. And I even caught Nicky with it originally at the start, right Nicky? And he's like, what am I going to say? But now Nicky knows it's going to be Nicky every week.
So
he's like, I find that Nicky saying a wee bit as a captain is sometimes it can be a wee bit more motivational than me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's coming from their captain just before we go out into the park and you can feel the passion on Nicky's voice as well. Because every player steps on that part, what he win a game of football. I don't believe boys go out to half-arse it. I think you can motivate them or you can unmotivate them, but there's no, in my experience, I've not had players go in the park, not to play for you, not to try for their mates. So between me and Nicky, I think they're going out and we've got a song. I had a sports psychologist in for a couple of years as well. I had her in and we've got a song that we play and when you hear that song, even during pre-season, see if you're sitting at a swimming pool and you're away somewhere and the song comes on, it gets you into that game day mode a wee bit. Brilliant, so the boys pump that up.
You're not going to tell us what it is now?
All of the lights, I can't remember. But when it's banging, the boys have got it right up. It's really good.
You said Nicky phones you before every game asking what
to say. So he's been caught. Every Friday night I'll sit for him.
I knew it wasn't him.
He's not got that about him, that boy. I could listen to you all day, by the way. I'm looking into your eyes and I'm really loving you.
But I think people would look at him and say he's a guy that wants to do everything at the club, nobody else has got to say. But when you listen to this insight, it's brilliant, man. How many people the coaches?
For young coaches as well,
it's a lazy narrative, but Davey will shout at the players. The players play for him. Right, okay. The players play for most managers. Now there is managers you can see there maybe times up in that and you can see it a wee bit, but we put a lot of detail into making the players better at the club and I think that goes unnoticed.
What do you get annoyed by that? I know you said
water over that. I can't change people's perception, people's opinion. I've kind of got to a place in my life where I don't worry about things I can't control.
I'm not just saying, I do think it has changed now. I do think people are really respecting you for...
Probably your interview, mate, had probably done that.
That was a big...
I don't think these interviews help me if I'm honest.
No, see your flash.
You'll get me a move to League 2.
No, David, there's sorry, on you go side. I shouldn't have done that here.
No, but I'm just saying the comments in your interview when we're...
Oh, mate, honestly, probably the most, ever. The amount of people message David Martindale was incredible. What a guy, never knew he was...
I think Scottish football fans can relate to me because they feel that I'm one of them, and I am.
You've not been like with the Wild thing though, which is poor.
I'm going to do another one. I was only kidding.
Good, like that if you knew something that you didn't like, you done a half-time team talk at Stenhousemuir. Were you raging at that?
I was disappointed that I got out because I thought it was really unprofessional.
It's poor that, mate, innit?
Am I bothered about the content? No, really. If you were in my changing room and you were in the changing room, I wouldn't go and put a team talk on just to impress. I would be me. I go in, I don't go in me preconceived. I'm big on my intuition. So as I go in, I can read the room. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
You're looking at the game and
whether they need lifted or whether
you know yourself. Or certain players you've got to give them a bit, but you can maybe go and get them before they go out the door and give them a wee cuddle, so to speak, or give them a wee G up. So I'm big on the intuition side of it. And it wasn't disrespectful to Stenhousemuir. They went up the park and scored once, and then it became really difficult the game. I just thought we needed a wee jolt. We weren't getting that ourselves on the park, and I think it was the bit they heard, it was maybe Stephen Bradley I was getting a wee bit to, and Stephen goes on the park and scores 2 fantastic goals in 10 minutes. Now I'm not saying that was just because of that, but sometimes you've got young players and you've got to be able to read the room, and I'm big on the intuition when I go in the room. You can feel a wee bit of a vibe, do you know what I'm saying? You know yourself where you're going in. Sometimes you've got to lift the boys, sometimes you've got to give them a cuddle, sometimes you've got to give them a bit up the arse, but me as a manager, that comes from my experience, what I think they need at that. And you're not always going to get it right.
Right, of course.
But as long as you get more right than you get wrong.
Because that's what I've had a lot of arguments about it. People come up to me and say, oh, what about that, Matt? That's nothing.
It's nothing,
It happens all the time.
I think I'm probably a product of the environment I was in. The era of football I grew up in, that was nothing.
No, you were in your... It was bad, mate.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a change room for me, but that's probably the disappointing part. It was that side of it got out, whereas there's a lot more goes into.
You can't be 1-0 at Stenhousemuir in League 2. What are you expecting? You're coming to go
if we go out to Scottish Cup, right? Exactly. Fair play to Stenny, but if we went out to Scottish Cup to a League 2 team who's part-time, by the way, we should all be looking at our jobs. Because we're not doing our jobs properly, me included. But we got the reaction I wanted, but that's not a standard half-time team talk, to be honest.
Just on Bradley, what a signing he's been, eh?
Been brilliant.
I met his agent in the gym and he says he's going into Livy. Davey wants to meet him first, he wants to talk to him, and he says, couldn't believe Davey sat down and went, why should I sign you? Is that right?
He came in, he came in with a joggy on, and he's like that, so he's sat in the chair, and he's like that, I goes, get up. And his agent,
what is wrong with boys,
his agent, so I said, like, his proposal, so I think there's a certain way you can speak to one, and I'm for the scheme. I said to his agent, I said, look, go and give 5-10 minutes with myself. All right, okay. And I tell him, I said, this is what I've heard. So why is Hibs letting you go? And I looked in his eyes and I believed everything he told me. And do you know what? The kid, since he's come in, has been fantastic. Absolutely incredible. And I think, again, it comes down to man management. You maybe look at boys, they're for the scheme, they maybe don't talk the same as some managers, some board members, and they kind of get ostracised slightly. And Stephen, there's a different way to manage Stephen, because I think he's one of these younger generation that you've got to coach a wee bit differently. He might not be always the best in a certain drill, so sitting in the park at training shouting at somebody, you bring him in, you explain, you talk to him, but he actually understands football. I put him on who we were playing at FC La Paz, and then I put him on against Fortuna Sittard, and they had Yilmaz and all that playing for him. Remember him? Mm-hmm. So we played them over in a big stadium in Turkey, 25,000 seats.
Was this like a trial, Davey?
No, so we're in Turkey, so I took him away with me.
No, right.
No. And do you know what? I thought there was going to be a lot of coaching in him in terms of off the ball coaching. I know what he could do on the ball. So there's got to be a why. Why is he no? Why is Hibs not kept him? I couldn't find the why. I couldn't find it. Off the ball, ready to say where is he? I'm like, he's exactly where I want him to be. He'd done all these things off the bat himself. So I now coach the nice side of the game with Stephen, the offensive side. Well, what about this? What if you do that? And I would probably go to try and do this a wee bit better. Because see, off the ball, the kid understands football. Yeah. And for me, that's the biggest thing. Boys have got to understand football. They're coachable. But to be coachable, I think you've got to love football. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You've got to be in love with football to understand the game management, the game knowledge side. Mm-hmm. And that's a difficult part for me. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all, but as a coach, it helps me if you study football.
Is there ever a player you've wanted to sign and you've really liked him, and then you've went and met him, and it's kind of put you off signing him after the chat you've had with him?
Nah, not really.
Who was the boy that you were telling us you couldn't give us his name the last time, but he played with a big team, remember? Says I can't give you his name, but do you remember that last time? There was a player he played in maybe the English Premier League or something, or a top league. Somebody got it right, because I looked at a comment and somebody got it right, and I can't remember who it was. How did that go?
I'm trying to think who it was. I don't think I signed him, did I?
No, I don't think you did.
I don't think I did.
See, in terms of the research you do for a player, how deep do you go into that?
Aye, deep. I'm not going to give all the secrets away, but you spend a lot of hours watching a player, so when they come through to me, I've got a quick fire. Like, it's kind of like half an hour. It's not an algorithm, but a half an hour process that I go through, whether I'm going to spend another 3 hours on a player or whether it's going to go in the pending tray.
So you know that after 30 minutes? I
think so, aye. I knew after 15 minutes, it's kind of my visuals, what I'll go through, how I'll check Instat, I'll check Y-Scout, I'll check transfer market, and I'll kind of have a wee half hour on the player, right? Is it worthwhile exploring further? Because you get the vast amount of players that come in. I can't spend 4 hours on a player. And my favourite message to agents is, I'll look into him and I'll get back to you if interested. Because see if all these agents came back expecting a reply from me, I'd be lost. Because we go through that much. And then once I've kind of, like that half hour, it's worth exploring. I'll put it into wee Ewan, who's an analyst, and Andy Ferguson, who helps me with the recruitment. And then between the three, we'll spend probably, 6 hours, 8 hours on a player. A UK-based player is very easy, but to phone you know him, say, what's he like, is he good in the changing room? I think I levitate towards players rather than sometimes managers. So I think players give you honest opinions. What's he like? Is he good in the changing room? 1-to-1, you ask a player, they'll probably give you the honest answer. Ask them in a collective, you'll probably know, you'll get 70% of the truth. When you speak to a player, you know a player. You play with them. And it's no rocket science, is it?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Good to 68 hours on a player.
You need to start doing that, mate.
I might have found you. I reckon I'd need to spend about 200 hours on you. And that was for me to talk myself out it.
That could be a wee role I could find myself at this club, watching the players.
I think you're very impatient.
Ah, you're right. I would just flick that by.
Imagine he was your manager.
You'd go out and phone you and you'd say
innit?
you've done it, and go, he's alright, he's no bad, and you've even watched him.
How would you have managed him, Davey, if he was your player?
I think I'd have done alright with him. I'd have done alright.
I was dead up doing one day I would come to train.
I know, but I wouldn't have let you there. I'd have had you in your good place all the time.
Who's been the toughest to manage?
It's probably cultures, but more so like French are a different culture. I've had a lot of French players. I've got Dylan Bahambula. And certain elements of the French, it's just a different culture. And listen, see for 6 months of the year, they're going about like that. That can't help you as a player, but hey, that mentality getting up, it's freezing. Going out to training, it's freezing. Does that really help you as a player? So it's probably not so much just French, it's different cultures coming into the building. Like Dylan's very, very religious. So you've got to manage different cultures and then integrate them all into a Scottish style of play, intensity, environment. And see, to be fair to them, they all buy into it. And if they don't really last that long. They're kind of, everybody shakes. There's not that much money at Livingston when you go, I'm going to sit my arse and take my contract. You can go and get more money elsewhere. So everybody kind of shakes hands. Look, I wish you all the best. Because not every decision you make is going to work, is it? But it doesn't mean there's a nice way to deliver bad news. And it's kind of how I like to work.
Many chances would you give a player if they cross the line?
It depends in terms of.
Have you got certain things that as soon as that happens, that's you done?
I'm probably on your case, and then as soon as I come off your case, you're probably time to leave because you're wasting your time. I think if you can't listen to what we're trying to do away from the park, because I think modern day footballers, they don't fail when they're in the club, they fail when they're away from the club. And that's the biggest part, what they're doing away from the club. Because I spoke about it slightly earlier. I think in modern day football, this is a sacrifice and a discipline in your life that you don't believe how much you've got to give up of your life. Even your family as a player, you've done it, but I think even more so now in terms of your nutrition, your sleep and your hydration. There's not really a big drinking culture for me at this club. We try and give them 3-4 nights throughout a year where, listen guys, going out and go and enjoy yourself. You can get a glass of wine and that with your partners every now and again, but
so somebody who's coming here off Davey, would that not be acceptable now?
Away. There's no point.
No.
Football's now so athletic. It's Olympians you're signing now. Look at the Premier League. Look at the best player. Look at Mbappe for talking to you. He's got all the ability in the world, but how good an athlete is he? Like, that's no coincidence.
I used to go rough so many times, man.
I know, but do you not think you were part of that
culture?
Older culture?
You would move on.
But that's what got us through. When I played juniors, going to training on a Thursday, brilliant, Saturday, where we were going there and walk out for a beer. That was the bonding. That's where you, and then a Saturday when you played, you'd been out drinking with your pals and you'd run through a brick wall for one another. But you couldn't do that now because football's now about elite athletes.
So how do you get the bonding side of it now then?
We're in here 24/7. We're in here, the boys, you'll see a Friday, the boys are still here at 1:30, 2 o'clock.
So what are they doing if they're not training, Davey? What do they do when they're amongst you?
So we'll get them in, so we'll ask you to come in. We're roughly on the park at 10:30. So you're in at 9 o'clock, we'll encourage you to be doing a prehab session in the gym. Right, so you're in there, you're working in various parts of your body. If you've got sore hip flexors, whatever it is, building up the muscles in and around areas where we feel there's a weakness. You get your breakfast in the morning. So come in, get your breakfast. We then know you've got the right fuel in your body for the training session at 10:30. There's a full-time masseuse in here, so come in and get your massage. Come in and do your gym session. You're out in the park at 10:30, where it's a gym-based activation session or a pitch-based activation. Sometimes it's a mix of both, and then you're on the park at 11. So 11 to 12:30 roughly, training. 12:30 in through the tunnel, your protein machines there. So it's like a slush machine, but we've got fruit, spinach, ice and protein powder. So it's all mixed into a protein drink that after training there's half an hour you've got a chance to repair the muscles in your body. So you've got to drink your protein drink. So you're buying protein drink, you're into your ice bath, or you're into a massage, into your ice bath, into your shower, then your lunch, and then we give the boys a wee bit of free time in their phones. But we try and get that recovery process done.
So up to that, no phones now?
No phones. The phone's got away at 10:15.
No, I hate it, I hate phones.
Do you know what? Why come in at 9 o'clock and sit in the change room on Instagram for 90 minutes? there's a gym, there's a fully built gym, go and use it, go and make yourself better. See if you don't want to do it, fair enough, crack on, but you'll probably get left behind because there's everybody else is doing it. And that's the one thing for me, can I compete with Celtic and Rangers financially? No, in a million years I can't. But can I do all this as well as them? I can. I might not have the same resources, but I can do all the same things. It doesn't cost because it's hard work on our part for the staff. So everything's here to make you better.
That's exactly what we say to our players. If I didn't realise the detail you went in terms of all that stuff. Our players want to be full-time players, and if they're only doing 2 nights a week, that gap's getting bigger and bigger.
See,
and bigger.
I'll see with Pats, and I think I said it on your show. So I played centre mid with Pats, came here 6 months into it, and I kind of took a wee bit more to do with the club, and I brought Pats in. It was in February, the window was open to the 2nd of Feb. I think I brought him in the 1st of Feb, 6 months after myself. But see, when we were at Broxburn, so I would take the training a lot of time with Pats' dad, but he'd say, right, Tuesday, go and crack on and you can do what you want. I'd put him through what I felt was a really, really tough session, and I was extremely fit. That's the one thing, I had good cardiovascular, so I was extremely fit, and I was blown. I'd go in, have my shower, ready to leave, and he pats us out down doggies, but kept himself out for another half hour, because he'd been let go by Hamilton at Pro Youth. Never really made it, never really got an opportunity, but by the way, I've never seen somebody work as incredibly hard as I did with Scott Pittman. And I know for a fact Pat still does this. Tell him no to your days off.
He'll still go up for a run.
He will. He'll go and do his own thing, because the biggest part of a modern day midfielder's legs. And if you look at some of the midfielders we've all played with, they're some fantastic footballers, eh? Like technically gifted players, but they can't run. So they find themselves dropping down the leagues. And even that, like, look at
what does it take an extra 20 minutes after training to go
20,
and do
30 minutes. But we'll do individual sessions at 9:30. So going back to it, I'll either say, right, Brucey, you're in with me at 9:30 tomorrow. Me, Brucey, will come in 24 hours a day. If I'm doing shooting drills with him, he'll do anything, like on times of the pitch-based stuff. So we'll identify, right, we need to do a wee bit with him, we need to do a wee bit with him. So between me, Neely and Berra, me, Neely and Marv, me, Dougie and Marv at that point, we're all doing extras with the boys at 9:30 and individual sessions. Might be in a group session, a smaller group session at 9:30 to 10, then they can go and get their breakfast before they start the pitch-based stuff.
Brilliant, that individual stuff, I
Great,
love that.
love it.
Now, just talk about me, Bruce. I seen him doing the Know the Drill with Jimmy Bullard.
Yeah.
Bullard was miles off it, wasn't he?
Oh, he's terrible.
I mean, what about his shooting?
I actually thought he'd have cut a lot of that, but fair play to Jimmy, he kept it in.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
He
was a guy, he was a good guy.
Who'd you like better, Jimmy or Slaney? Honest.
Honestly.
You're in people, you need to stick with Scots, don't you?
Aye, I think I'm going with you. Hopefully Jimmy doesn't watch this, so I'm going Slaney.
Aye.
But if Soccer AM asks me, I'm saying Jimmy.
Well, we'll do a wee challenge on the pitch today. Have you got one for me? You could put one for me.
No, really, because it's new 2 o'clock.
No, I don't mean...
Why don't you do the plank on here?
I'll do a plank. Listen, I'll do a plank.
You do the plank?
No.
No, today. But
Oh,
I'll do...
why don't, I tell you right, on camera, why don't the two of you come in and spend a full week? You can bring your camera, spend a full week.
So what, you'd let us film the full week?
We might need to cut wee bits, but
Aye, we'll cut what you want.
Well, no, but we can do it. You can spend a full week in here with us. You can be players, right? You can be players, but you can jump into the staff meetings and that.
Brilliant, mad.
And then it gives you the detail, and it might help you also as a coach.
That'd be great, mate. I'd really
I mean,
appreciate
because
it.
the two of you can kick a ball as well, can't you?
Mate, I'm not just saying this. It's in your possession, right, I'll be the best player.
I can't stop staring at that moustache. You meant that.
Who's your midfield player?
You look like my dad.
Keep going with that, that's good.
The only thing it's missing is a pipe. Sherlock Holmes here. He stole his jacket, I know.
By the way, can you...
Wait, who is it? Holt, Kelly,
Holt, Kelly, Pittman, Omienga, Sean Kelly.
They're good players.
The box isn't that?
No, so on a Friday, we never done it today because we played on Wednesday. We done a wee bit more patterns to play today because see after a Wednesday, the boys are recovery. So you're really only working with the players that are starting tomorrow for 30, 40 minutes a day. But generally on a Friday, you could come in as members of staff during the week, and then on the Friday you could put your boots on and become a player because we've got 3 boxes.
I want to do a lot of that, so
right?
We'll train every day and we'll do the coaches stuff as well.
He'll shit.
You can, so I can tell. I can come thinking an excuse and he's
I'll oversee. I'll not have the bits. I'll oversee it at the side.
I might join in.
I'll join me bits and balls.
I might let you.
Used to that.
Aye, but I'll just listen now.
That'll be groundbreaking.
We'll not be any different for what we normally are. It'll be nothing, obviously.
Could you go in the shower? Can you shower again?
Just us two in it together.
I'd make you look good.
You'll be busy.
I'd make you look good, that's your mum. I'm only kidding. Sorry.
Keep that in.
No,
She'll like
Mrs. Slane. My wife will call me.
Your wife, she'll love all that. So you weren't happy with this statement, weren't you? No.
What have I done?
Take it away, because I don't want to get involved with this. The statement here, £1 per point.
Aye, go for it. What you know?
Wasn't not happy with it?
I just threw him under the bus. I think you were all right with it, actually. But
so
what was the meaning by this?
Right. So
how did you work that out?
So there's a thing called Moneyball, right? And I'm not going to name the club. So I know this for a well-known fact. There's a manager who's top in England now. And how he was recruited was, so the money they'd spent on their budget, so let's say in England, £10 million, and he managed to get 50 points. So that equated to, for every point he got, it equated to so many pounds. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your budget's points gained. So if you then flip that in the Scottish Premier League, and we've all got a rough idea of roughly everybody's budgets. No, it's no coincidence. What you get for finishing 12th in the Premier League's my budget next year. So the money, it's guaranteed money because the SPFL are giving you.
Yeah, right.
So that's my budget. It's roughly £1.35 million. So Celtic budget, just use Celtic and Rangers, right? They're a wee bit different, but what do you think Celtic's budget is? And be genuine, what do you think it is?
20 million.
20 million, do you think so?
I don't know, I'm just...
There's no
rubbish with numbers now.
No.
Well, I think since Ange's came in, it was around about 40 million spent.
Right, so let's go 40, right? So let's go 40 million. Where it is, or we're 5 million out or whatever, right? It's irrelevant.
So it's 45.
So you're looking... No, I don't know. I genuinely don't
He
know.
knows all right.
I just know what certain players are on.
Right.
So there's certain players, and Celtic and Rangers, by the way, but why would they not be paying you? They've earned the right to do that. Their business model now, whatever you say, Celtic's business model's incredible. They've earned the right to spend X amount in players. Why would they know?
Yeah.
It's not like the MLS where there's a draft and it's probably a little bit fairer in terms, but would any of us really want that? Everybody to spend £2 million? I don't think I would want that as a football fan. I want to aspire to beat Celtic. I want to aspire to beat them. Do you know what I mean? And for them, globally, they bring a lot of money into exposure into Scottish football. So if you were to divide Celtic and Rangers, so we're not singling out a single team here, right? Celtic, Rangers, let's say 35 to 40 million pound. Divide that with the points you get, and that gives you how much it costs Celtic per point.
Right, get you.
Celtic and Rangers, Aberdeen, Hearts, Hibs, we all know what our budgets are slightly, right? We all know this. You can get the information through the accounts anyway. So if you do that every year, then it spits out a number, obviously, because you're dividing it by the points, by the budget.
Yeah, budget, right.
So I think what the year that Rangers won the league, Rangers were something along the lines of £425,000 a point. Celtic had dropped their points tally. Rangers won it with quite a wee bit that year. Is that right?
Yeah.
12 points. I
don't know. When was in? Yeah.
Aye. So Celtic's pounds for points was something like £750,000. And if you go down to us, I think St Johnstone had a good year. And St Johnstone's budget's more than mine. St Johnstone were something like 40 grand a point, and we were 27 grand a point.
Wow.
So when you look at the pounds or points, but why I'm going there with it, it's not to do with Celtic.
Have you got the lowest budget in the league?
By a country mile.
Have you, Dave? Yeah.
Oh, by a country mile. We're 20. I know for a fact I've got the lowest budget in the league. But do you know what? I will counteract that by saying I've had 14 windows at Livingston.
Right.
That equates to a certain element of continuity. Does that make sense?
Will that ever change you having the lowest budget at Livingston?
I think for the club, and I spoke about this with the chief executive and the chairman, for the club to kick on, we're not going to go and find 3,000 fans overnight, so that's not going to change. We can't get any more commercial money into the club. We're kind of punching above our weight in terms of where we finish in the league, so it's really difficult to do that every single year. The only way we're going to do that is inward investment through, like if you look at Hibs, Aberdeen, Hearts with the foundation. But if you look at certain ownership models, maybe an owner coming in and going, right, do you know what? We're wanting top 4, we want top 6 every year. There's a couple of £1 million in the budget to go and get that. That's the only way, I think, for us.
But then you need to get the right people, because this club have been hurt with that in the past, haven't they?
Yeah. But you look at, there is owners, it's more American owners in Scotland now, isn't it? If you look at Dave, I know Dave's for Aberdeen, but Dave's done an incredible job at Aberdeen commercially with the money that they've managed to attract into Aberdeen. And then you look at Ogren at United, who's put his hand in his own pocket, and you look at Ron Gordon at Hibs, who's put his hand in his own pocket. So they've brought that into football. And then you look at Hearts, who are probably the best run club in Scotland out with the Celtic and Rangers. And look at the foundation of Hearts, what their fans put into that club on an annual basis. It's incredible.
But
it is a family, it's a community-owned club, but it's run incredibly well.
Do you think your job becomes harder though if you get that investment now? Do you think it's easier?
If you're going into a race, a Fiat Panda and a Lamborghini, where would you rather be driving?
If you were driving the motor,
Lamborghini.
Do you know what I mean? But would you no rather have that money to spend? And we're recruiting boys for League Two in England, roughly National League, League Two, and then we're recruiting boys for League One in Scotland and the Championship in Scotland. And then you look at the bigger clubs, they're bringing international players in. Now, they players are international players for a reason, because they're good. Right, so there's a lot less coaching, I feel. I might be wrong. There's a lot less coaching when you're bringing international players in 40 grand a week than me going out and getting somebody for Partick Thistle on 700 grand a week. I think that's...
But are they bigger personalities maybe harder to deal with as well on the flip side?
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't answer that. I just know, I know a lot of big players, big former players, and I've found them incredibly...
Because they do want to do everything.
I think, do you know what? They're there because they do the basics.
Right,
And away for the game. Away for the game. Do you see, I think Callum McGregor's one of the most gifted footballers in Scotland. You don't pick up the paper and see Callum McGregor all over the front page.
No.
He is an unbelievable athlete, by the way, and footballer. Do you know what I mean? He could go, for me, he could go down south and play in the top four.
I think so.
I genuinely, I think he's so good. I think he's brilliant. You look at the boys that are doing well down in England. Callum's better, or he's on the same level, if not better. Like Tierney at Arsenal, Robertson at Liverpool, McGinn at Aston Villa. McGregor's phenomenal.
In that class.
Do you see the job you've done with Livingston on the budget you're on? Does that not make you think, I'd love to try?
I'd love to try, of course I would. Of course I would, but I'm not in any hurry to leave Livingston. I'm not going applying for jobs. Somebody wants me, phone the chairman.
Would you be confident in yourself in now taking a...
Of course I would. Why would I not?
Brilliant. Could you get Celtic and Rangers, David?
Why couldn't you?
Because you wouldn't need to do any more than what you're doing here. You're doing more here.
Do less. I think for me, I would like to be doing less. I'd want to be a football manager, but I'm not in any hurry to leave Livingston. And until John and Robert come and say, oh, somebody's phoned me, or you're not doing very well, it's time to move on, I'll be at Livingston. Livingston's changed my life, so they've got my loyalty. Until that day, I'm not going to start applying for jobs to try and get away from Livingston.
He's got that in his eye, doesn't he? I retire.
And Europe's in sight as well.
Is that the aim now? Is that the aim?
I think it's got to be
and
now.
Would you see that in the players, Davey?
Now we do. Now we do. But we spoke about it at the start of the year, so I had a team meeting. Where they were 10th. You've got to be 10th in the Premier League. That's survival. We've got to stay in the Premier League. Right, so we went round every player. There's 24 seats in here, and there's 23 seats in the first team dressing room. And this is why I done it, lads, because we built this up over the years. It was me physically, Dale's dad, and a couple of boys that built all this. So, built this in specific with the first team in mind. So the 23 first team seats in the changing room, they sat here, and we went through it, and I said, what's your individual goals? Put it on the flip chart. Everybody wanted to finish top 6, some wanted Europe, some were happy to stay in the Premier League. So then you evaluate the goals on a monthly basis, don't you? If we don't get top 6 now, we've only got ourselves to blame. And once you're in the top 6, there's 5 teams get Europe. Why would Europe not be one of your objectives when you get there?
Does it make, so if you finish top 6, does it make a massive difference for the club in the years coming?
It probably, what it does is I've had a big loss through COVID, so the accounts this year are only going to be healthy in terms of, I think we've always made a profit, 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, but that gets lost. It's not as if they go, well, there you go, Davey, that's been reinvested into the stadium over the years, but we're now probably at a point, 5 years in the Premier League, where a lot of the infrastructure at the club's been taken care of. We've built gymnasiums, we've built analyst rooms, we've built academies, we've done all that kind of work. The club must have spent easily £600,000-700,000 over the years in the infrastructure at the club. But we train here, so every penny we spend at the club makes it better for the boys on a daily basis, i.e. the video room, it doubles up as a media room on a match day. Do you know what I mean? So this is probably the first year the COVID accounts are showing a big loss because of one-off costs with COVID testing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was no fans.
Yeah.
No fans for, what was it, 18 months or something like that. So you then get we paid the players every penny in their contract. Every penny. Chairman, chief exec came to me and said, look, until there's a pound left in that bank, everybody will get paid.
Brilliant, man. So what's the income of this 24 seats and 23 in there?
Well, so 20, I wasn't going to just put 23 in. So there's 23 seats in the first team change room. So I specifically designed the media room with enough seats to accommodate every single player in the media room and in the first team change room. And this is where I'll sit, I'll plug my laptop in there, I'll be in the telly behind you, the lights will go off and we'll do our posting pre-game stuff in here.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
So see, even if you finished fourth this year, got in Europe, would your aim the next season, not aim, but would you still say we need to finish 10th? Or do you need to get away from that
Again,
mentality?
it depends. I think probably not get away from it because you need to be pragmatic, but how much of that squad can I keep? Getting to Europe, does it allow me to keep 3 or 4 of these players that are successful? Because every year I try and do it in 3-year cycles. So every year I'm going to be 3-4 players out of contract every year, opposed to 1 year you're hit with 9 and you're like, do you know what I mean? So I try and work in 3-year cycles. So 3 or 4 players, can I keep them at the club? Because generally we've been successful in the Premier League, so everybody just comes and punches your players, gives them more money. Nobody really chaps your door and says, can you give me the same contract? All right. But everybody's wanting a pay rise because of the success the collective has.
Yeah.
So you're losing them. So I think that year, if something like that was to happen, I could maybe keep the players that are probably this year out of contract that are going, like Big Fitzy, for example. I'm going to go back down the road because I can get double my money. I couldn't give him double, but could I give him a wee bit more if we got Europe? And then for a coaching point of view, if I've coached Fitzy for 3 years, there's less coaching in Fitzy. And opposed to bringing, I think it was a good analogy with Connor Goldson. Connor could have left in the summer with Rangers, and I think Rangers pushed the boat out to keep him. But the analogy was, what they would need to replace Connor Goldson, what, 5 million quid? And there's no guarantee that that boy's going to go and do well. And by the way, somebody that's been bought for 5 million quid goes, I want your top wage. So you need to give him a top wage and buy him for 5 million. And then there's no guarantee. Connor Goldson, for me, has probably been one of the outstanding centre-halves in the Premier League consistently over the piece with Rangers. It makes sense to keep the boys in your building because your job becomes easy. See, if you want to keep them, your job becomes easier. So the ones that leave that you probably are happy they're leaving or you're allowing them to leave. But the ones you don't want to leave, you lose. That's the difficult part going into next season, and you'll have that every year.
Have you got people in mind for next year already? And does it change
my recruitment
that you're going to bring in? And does that change on where you're finishing the league as well?
Probably no. Probably no. We're probably, the league would be right, getting to Europe would be icing in the cake, where I think we'd probably need to expand the first team numbers, because I don't think you can run with 23 free keepers and 20 players. I don't think you can do that. Again, it depends what stage you're at. If you were conference group stages when you were fourth, or you were like a fifth, like Motherwell, and you were out after the first round. So yeah, it's difficult one to gauge because you don't know what you're guaranteed.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But I think it helps you keep players at the club.
I think clubs will be sniffing about you, mate. I really do. I really do. And as a job,
would you like to sniff about him?
I'm not sniff. I'm going to sniff about after this. It's a wee bit lower if you don't mind.
He's unnearly to use that word when you're interviewing me.
What interview? What?
Sniffing about.
Oh. Fuck me, I was slow there like that. But Davey, and I'm not going for you under us, but there's a massive club in Scotland now who obviously the manager's left. If to me, they'll be looking.
You've been putting his name in for it on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. You try to get my job.
You're trying to get this job into me and you. Melon Cape.
Who's at Aberdeen?
I think so. I mean, that to me would be the gradual step.
Do you think so? I've got to feel my immediate future is probably down south. I don't think there's many clubs in Scotland would come and take a chance.
I don't know if to be fair, some of the things I've seen in Aberdeen, I don't know if you're best there, mate, to be honest with some of the decisions they make. Listen, I'm not going to say too much because something that can be a bit controversial. But
my immediate future is at Livingston and getting us to European football.
Well said.
But see, do you know, love it here that it's you're saying it really, in terms of what happens, who comes in the door. How would you find that? Because most other, bigger
I think
clubs have
sometimes
got
I'd love it.
dictating. Would you?
I think it would be nice to have a recruitment team, a director of football, but Dave, everybody in this building, every one of us do 5 or 6 different jobs. He can't put his job title on LinkedIn, it's too big. There's about 6 different jobs. Do you know what I mean? But would you rather concentrate in doing your own job thoroughly and properly, or jump about try to do other things? I think I'm getting to a stage where, for me as well, I want to go into a set-up with resources, but if we got Europe, that might allow us to even kick on with the backroom team and the staff at the club to do it a little bit better. Like, we've got a couple of girls that are part-time that work, and Max, like, could they be full-time, which makes his job easier, makes the office, which ultimately makes my job a wee bit easier as well.
Director of football?
I'll be in, 100%.
You couldn't be a director, you must have a criminal record. I thought you'd have been a snowdrop in charge. Do you know what that is? Do you know that? Remember, you used to hang the clothing at your mum, you'd hang all your clothes out overnight, and if there was a label and you wake up in the morning, somebody stole it off the washing line. But he'd be a snowdrop.
My dad's pants.
Your dad's boxers.
My dad's pants.
I went intent to sniff.
Attempt to sniff.
David Martindale, what a hero.
David, hero.